Want to know why the media doesn't care when black women, black men go missing? You want to know why it seems as if their lives don't matter? As if a missing black man, missing black woman is old news, is not worthy of the front page of the paper or the top of the hour in the news? I'll tell you why. It's because the black culture has communicated that to the media. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that. So if you have been paying attention to the news recently, I'm sure you've heard about the unfortunate tragedy surrounding Gabby Petito. And they believe that they found her remains this past weekend. And that story is horrible. The Bible says we rejoice with those who rejoice and we mourn with those who mourn. So definitely prayers of comfort go out to her family. But in listening to news media stories about this tragedy, I stumbled upon the race hustlers in the news media, namely Don Lemon and Joy Reid. And they came with an angle saying that, yes, the tragedy surrounding Gabby Petito is tragic, to say the least. But would that same coverage, this same outpouring of sympathy, be made for a missing person of color? And on the surface, I initially said probably not, because I've seen instances where missing people of color, missing black women, did not receive the same media coverage as a Lacey Peterson, as a Gabby Petito, as a John Benet Ramsey. All those different things, those different cases have attracted nationwide media attention. And so on the surface, you would think, man, that is true. They don't care about when a black girl or a black woman, or even a black man for that matter, goes missing. So here you have Don Lemon giving his take on it.
You ask any person of color, you ask a black man if they have that sort of privilege. Ask a poor
it's
white
not
person.
A privilege.
No,
it's
hold
a
on.
right.
I know
okay?
that. I know, but most people don't know that, and they're not treated that way by law enforcement. Even if you think that, cops are the good guys, yeah, many times they are. But many times they aren't, especially when it comes to people of color and poor people in the society who don't have the means to be able to stand behind a lawyer and not go to speak. Do you think like someone who, a Don Lemon, if I wasn't who I am, they'd be like, hey, get your butt in here. What do you know about the disappearance of such and such? Why won't you talk? Oh, do you need a lawyer because you're guilty? All of that would go down.
Yeah, they do that to black people, white people. They do that to a lot of people.
That's what I said. This is about black people and poor people, meaning because all people are poor. They're all, not all people, but there are people of all different ethnicities who are poor. And they don't have the privilege of being able to afford an attorney who will tell them that they can't go in. What did you say to me today? Usually until you're arrested, that's when you are assigned an attorney for free.
If you will.
Otherwise, before then, you got to shell out some dough.
And then I heard Joy Reid, who actually has referenced a name for this.
If you've been watching the news for the past few days or on Twitter or TikTok, you're probably familiar with the name Gabby Petito, the 22-year-old aspiring social media influencer who was reported missing after her fiancé returned from their van life excursion without her. On Sunday, human remains believed to be Petito's were found in a national park in Wyoming. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to confirm the identity. Now, it goes without saying that no family should ever have to endure that kind of pain. And the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice. But the way this story has captivated the nation has many wondering, why not the same media attention when people of color go missing? Well, The answer actually has a name: missing white woman syndrome, the term coined by the late and great Gwen Ifill to describe the media and public fascination with missing white women like Laci Peterson or Natalie Holloway, while ignoring cases involving missing people of color. Joining me now is Derica Wilson, co-founder and CEO of the Black and Missing Foundation, and Lynette Gray Bull, founder of Not Our Native Daughters, an organization created for the awareness of the missing, exploited, and murdered Indigenous women and children. Thank you both for being here. You know, I bring up this point because there's a case that's so similar. A journalist friend of mine, Derica, sent me this story about a young, about some other people that are missing. There's one guy whose name is Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson is a young black man. He's only 24 years old, 5'8", 165, black hair, brown eyes. That's his description. His dad has hired a private investigator to find him. He's missing part of an arm. He was last seen driving away from his job site in the Buckeye, Arizona desert on June 23rd. And his case struck me because it's very similar. He's missing in the same part of the world. It's a case that it has all of that same kind of sizzle, the sort of mystery of it. This young man who just goes missing. I never heard of it until this friend of mine sent it to me. And I guess that's the issue, isn't it?
So missing white women syndrome. That is the phrase that has been coined as to why the media gives so much attention to missing white women. And while that may be true, the media does give an exorbitant amount of time to missing white women. I thought to myself, you want to know why the media doesn't care when black women, black men go missing? You want to know why it seems as if their lives don't matter? As if a missing black man, missing black woman is old news, is not worthy of the front page of the paper or the top of the hour in the news? I'll tell you why. It's because the black culture has communicated that to the media. The black culture has told the media, or has been informed by the media, that black lives really don't matter. That the only time a black life matters is when a police officer who is white kills them. Because if you listen to the music that drives the culture, if you watch TV shows that drive the culture, there is no value for black life. The fact that we abort our babies more than anybody else, that shows you that there is no value for black life. Where is the value for black life? So that's why the media doesn't cover it. Because there is no outpouring or outrage when it happens, unless it meets a small specific criteria, a slim parameters. It has to meet slim parameters. The perpetrator has to be white and has to be a police officer. Other than that, that does not matter. You want to know why all the shootings that take place in inner city do not make front page news? You want to know why when a person goes missing, that's a person of color, it doesn't make front page news? Because we have communicated that to America, that black lives really don't matter. They really don't. We've sent that message to them by what we say, by how we act, and how we treat each other. So that's why there's no coverage. They don't care. And the fact that the black culture, for all its white supremacy talk and white fragility talk, the fact that they desire so much the attention of white people in this land shows that the only time they will get attention is when a white person kills a black person. The hunger that certain people want, the starvation, the affinity that they have for the value that a white person places on a black life is what is driving this. So the media doesn't cover it. People don't talk about it. You don't have internet sleuths talking about a black life that's missing. You don't have that. And there are great organizations that I heard last night that are trying to get the word out and get the message out. I mean, there's an organization that I've heard of called the Mothers of Murdered Offspring. Those are great organizations. They're trying to bring attention to the plight of children, of people that are killed or missing or exploited. Think about all the sex trafficking that goes on. Think about all those things that happen right in our backyards. That doesn't make the front page news. But when you have a white woman who's missing, it does. Because we have communicated that message to them. We have told them, hey, black lives really don't matter. They don't. The only time they matter is if somebody pulls a trigger who was white and was a police officer. That's the message we've communicated everywhere. We've communicated that message in the churches. We've communicated that message in our music. We've communicated that message in our chat boards. We communicated that message in our social media. We have communicated that message. But to God, all lives are precious. To God, the black life that was killed in a drive-by shooting is just as precious as a black baby that was aborted in the womb. All those lives are precious. But we have to change the narrative. We have to tell America, no, the lives of black people of color, the lives of black and people of color who are missing are just as valuable as that of a missing white woman. And like I said, while we lament what happened to Gabby Petito, we don't wish that on anybody. Nevertheless, the fact that there are black women who are missing, black girls who are missing, that do not make the evening news. And like I said, it's because we have communicated that message to America that black lives really don't matter. They really don't. Black lives really don't matter because we have communicated that. We have communicated that the lives of black women, the lives of black men are irrelevant. And the only time a black man's life is relevant is when a police officer shoots him or kneels on his neck or shoots him in the back. That's the only time that a black life, a black man's life really matters. We've communicated that message to this nation and to the world for that matter. That we're only good being a victim. But we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. That is not the truth. We have to change that narrative that yes, our lives matter just as much. We are valuable in the eyes of God, and we need to make sure that everyone in this nation, this land, understand that and put the same type of media attention on our missing and exploited children as they do for missing white women. We have to. We have to change the way our culture communicates the value of black life in this land. We can do it because we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. We are made special in the eyes of God. And let's make sure that people in this land and this nation recognize that.